So I just passed another Apex Eval. It's a $50,000 account, and I did it in just 4 trading days. And the part that matters the most that I just want to share is that I did not do it by trading 10 different assets. Like I trade gold today, I trade MNQ. No, I just traded one asset. I also did not use massive size. I was actually trading micros, and I'm going to dive deeper into it in a minute. And I did not sit there just gambling the account, meaning like if I see candles going up, I then just enter. I had a setup every single day of those 4 trading days that I would look for, and when it would play out, I take my entry, and that's it. And one thing I want to point out is I was actually trading an Apex intraday trailing account, which I think is actually more difficult than the end of day trailing, mainly because your trailing threshold is updating in real time, not at the end of the trading session. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly the approach that I used and the 3 lessons I took from passing the eval in 4 days. So let's get into it. Now, before we dive into it, quick disclaimer. This video is purely for educational purposes, and it is not financial advice. Trading futures is risky, so I highly recommend that you get into it understanding the risks. And also, if you're thinking about taking an eval with Apex, feel free to use my affiliate link. It's in the description along with the code, and I would greatly appreciate that. Now, let's get started. So I took a $50,000 eval on Apex, and I traded it over 4 days. And as you can see, the balance on day 4 was $53,000.01. And what that means is that I hit the $3,000 profit target. And as you can see, I was able to do this in 4 trading days. Now, I want to break down the daily P&L. As you can see, on day 1, I made about $1,500. Day 2, I made $166. Day 3, I made $392. And then day 4, I made $885. And when you sum it all up, it gets to the $3,000 number, and I was able to pass the account. But here's what I want you to notice. This was not me getting 4 home runs back to back. Day 1 was my biggest day, but after that, the goal was not to force more trades. The goal was actually to protect the cushion that I had built, which meant I had to stay disciplined and I had to keep only looking for high quality setups. As you can see, on day 2, I only made $166. And that's super important because sometimes when you build that big cushion, you have the instinct of doing it again. But that's not the goal, right? You want to keep things simple. And for some of these days, I actually traded live with my community, which is important because I believe community is a big part of trading. And if you're still learning, having someone who can kind of like show you how to do it, it's super important. So I actually enjoyed that process for my community members because a bunch of the community members that were there that I knew were to trading futures, and for them to sit back and kind of like watch me do it, I think was super helpful. So if you're interested in joining a community, there's a link in the description that walks you through how to do that. Now, one key thing that I found useful in this entire process was having a daily risk budget. On day 1, my risk budget was $250, meaning that if I lost $250, I'll be done for the day. But obviously on day 1, I had this big cushion built. And for days 2, 3, and 4, I increased my risk budget to $300 a day. Again, that means that if I lost $300 a day, I would stop trading. And it's super important for you to go into a trading session knowing the maximum damage you're willing to accept, right? What that does, it gives you a boundary. And boundaries when it comes to trading are everything. Because if you do not decide the risk up front before the session starts, guess what? Your emotions and the market will decide the risk you're going to take for the day during that session. And we all know emotional trading can be very, very expensive. So now let's dive into the 3 lessons. Lesson number 1 is simplicity beats complexity. I know a lot of traders who want to watch every single chart. They're looking at ES, they're looking at gold, they're looking at silver, they're looking at NQ. It doesn't really work for me, at least in my experience. I've seen people who have like 12 indicators. They're looking at multiple different time frames, trading 5 different strategies. But what I've found is that by keeping things simple, it's going to enable you to actually be a better trader. I only traded MNQ, so it's the micros for NASDAQ. I only mainly traded the New York session. I did trade evening sessions mainly for my community, but for me, the most of the profit was made during the New York session. And by focusing on a specific time frame and also focusing on a specific asset, you really get to understand the asset's personality, right? You can know when it's clean, you can know when it's choppy. It enables you to build this sixth sense on that particular asset rather than just bouncing from one asset to another. So lesson number 1 is super simple. Keep it simple, one asset, ideally 1 or 2 trading strategies. And also you want to control your size. I was not trading more than 4 micros at any given time. And if you have an A+ setup, you should be able to do really, really well. Now, before I go into lesson number 2, what I want to do is I'm going to actually dive into the charts and show you the setup that I was looking for when I was trading this eval. So we're going to go into the charts and I'm going to show you what I was looking for and walk you through an example of a trade I took so that it kind of like makes practical sense. So we're going to dive into the charts right now and we're going to look at the setup.
And we'd set liquidity over here. And you can see pre-market like around 8 o'clock. You can see 8 o'clock candle sold off. But on a 15-minute, I could see that with our supply zone right here. So what I wanted to see was I wanted to see price come back into supply and retest the all-time high. But then I wanted to take the move down like this, right, towards this liquidity. So remember on day 1, I did 1500. So what I essentially was looking for is I was looking for this move to the downside and something like this. So you can see it was a massive risk to reward ratio. And normally when I take these types of trades, I'm looking to take it with like about 4, micros. So this was essentially the trading idea that I took. I might have gotten out maybe like somewhere around here. I forgot how I exactly did that execution, but essentially this was the trading idea where I was risking $250 to essentially make the $1,500 that I did on day 1. So if we were to, set it as a stop limit order, this is the stop limit order that I would place. And if you take a look and see what ended up happening, and I'll put it on a 5-minute so that you can see. So you can see price went into supply, and then once it hit supply, it went straight to the liquidity. So this was the trade I took on day 1, and it played out beautifully.
So hopefully this gives you practical insight into the trades that I was taking. And again, the goal was not to take every move, right? The goal was for me to just focus on 1 or 2 clean opportunities, manage my risk, and grow the account. Now, let's go into lesson 2. Lesson 2 is your daily risk budget matters more than you think. I already explained to you my daily risk budget across the 4 days, right? $250 day 1, and then $300 on day 2, 3, and 4. And most traders, when they start trading an eval, they're mostly thinking about the profit target. I hear traders say, I need to make the $3,000 as quickly as possible. But I think that's not the ideal plan if you want to pass your eval. I think if all you think about is the profit number, you might find yourself forcing trades just to get to that profit number quicker. It's super, super dangerous if you're only focused on the $3,000 profit target. Instead, my humble recommendation is you actually need to focus on your daily risk budget. And the reason why I say that is because if you can just stay with the account long enough to be right, so if you use my $250 daily risk budget, the drawdown on a 50K account on Apex is $2,000. And it means that I have to lose 8 days for me to blow that account. Again, if you focus on the defense, right, if you focus on protecting the account, the market will give you enough moves for you, hopefully, to be right. This is assuming you have the right strategy, you have the right setup, and all that stuff. So if you focus on managing your risk, because at the end of the day, that's the thing that you can truly manage, is manage how much you're willing to lose, you have a better chance of actually passing the eval. So you cannot just trade focused on how much money you want to make. I think you also need to put an equal amount of effort, if probably not more, on focusing how much you're willing to lose. Because when you lose that amount, the day is over, you can reset, you can journal, and you stop trading, so you don't open yourself up to revenge trading, and then you can come back again, and hopefully you can make it up and you can be good. Now, the next lesson might probably be the most important lesson of this entire video, because I feel like that's where a lot of traders fail. They do the hard part. They do the technical analysis right. They find an A+ setup. They actually build the account like I did on day one, right? I did over half of my profit target in day one. And sometimes you find traders who get really, really close at passing the eval, but what do? They give all those profits back because they don't focus on protecting the cushion. So lesson number 3 is, once you've built a cushion, your job is to protect it. Remember, day one was my biggest day. I did $1,500 on that day. So it really gave me a very, very strong start. But a strong start can either help you or it can hurt you. If you respect it, it's going to help you. But if you get cocky and, the ego kicks in, it can actually hurt you. Because after a big green day, there is the temptation to say, you know what? I can pass this today. And Apex actually allows you to pass in one day. So what you could easily do is you could size up so you can make another $500 or another $1,000. And that could also be your drawback, because if the pullback happens and you're sized up, you can find yourself, giving all of those profits back and potentially blowing that account. So a lot of traders get trapped that way. They have a really good, successful day, and then they try to replicate that success on the next day, and then they give all the profits back. So after a big day, my humble suggestion is become more selective in your trades and try to reduce the temptation to be reckless. That's why you actually see that on day 2, I only made $166. And to be honest, I'm actually very proud of that day, because that day shows that I exercise restraint. It would have been very, very easy for me to force trades and try to increase on what I had built on day 1. But remember, my job was not to recreate day 1. My job was to protect the account. And that's what I did. I protected the account and I actually grew it. And day 2 didn't really give me a really solid setup. In defense, they say good defense wins you titles. In trading, it's also true. Like, good defense gets you evals passed and also payouts. So most traders don't fail because they're not good at the charting. They fail because they cannot keep the money that they make. They make $500 today, and tomorrow they give back $700. They take one trade and they make $1,000, and then the next trade they lose $1,500. So the important lesson I want you to take away here is that when you have built that cushion, you need to actually have a mindset shift. And your mindset shift should really be centered around the question, how do I protect this progress? And not for you to be thinking about, how do I squeeze every single dollar out of the market? Because if you try to do that, it's not going to be possible. What might actually happen is the market squeezing every last dollar that you have. It's a major difference in terms of mindset. And if you're trading an eval, I just want you to remember this. You do not get rewarded for excitement. You get rewarded for control. So that's a big, big lesson that I would want for you to take with you. Now, I'm going to share a 4th bonus lesson, and this is important. Passing your eval is nice, but once you have the eval, the goal is to now stay funded so that you can actually get payout. All right. And the thing is, passing an eval in 4 days like I did, or maybe you could even do it in a day or 2, whatever, it makes for a good screenshot. But passing your eval is not the ultimate goal. The real goal when it comes to prop firm trading is becoming the kind of trader who can keep the funded account and position yourself for payouts. That is the ultimate goal. Because remember, after the eval stage comes the funded stage. And this is where your habits matter even more. Now, if you pass your eval by gambling, you're most probably going to trade the funded account the same way. If you pass your eval by over leveraging, being lucky, you're probably also going to hope that the same luck or the same over leveraging you did in your eval is going to help your funded account as well. It might work, but if you want to be consistently profitable and to be consistently getting payouts, you want to make sure that you're building the right habits during the eval stage so that they translate into your funded account. All right. So you need to be asking yourself the question, what habits do I need to develop now in order for me to be a funded trader? Because the same discipline that's going to help you pass your eval will become the discipline that gets you the chance to get paid. So earlier I mentioned that I have a trading community, and the details for you to join that trading community are in the description. So if you're trying to pass an eval and you feel like maybe you're alone and you want to be part of a community, there's a link in the description where you can apply for my mentorship, and would love to help you on your trading journey. The other thing too is I also do bi-weekly boot camps. So if you want to join one of my boot camps, the link to join one of the boot camps is below. And in the boot camps, we go a little bit deeper around strategy and how you can actually grow as a trader. So feel free to click the link in the description, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you join the boot camp. And then last but not least, if you found this video helpful, feel free to let me know in the comments, and also like and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with another trader that you know that might be interested in this type of content. And for all of those who are taking evals, I wish you success. And let me know in the comments when you actually do pass, because we want to celebrate with you when you pass your eval. So I will see you in the next video. Take care.